Hi, welcome to the School of David by David. This is the David of the School of David. Welcome to what I'm calling the Marketplace Minute. And we say in the Marketplace Minute, it's never really a minute. So I want to talk today about the public of the immature. The public of the immature. And it's coming from the book of Luke, chapter number 7, verse 31 to around 36. I hope I can cover it in a shortest time possible. So, verse 31, the Bible says, "And the Lord said, Whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like?" So you can see already there, Jesus is trying to give us a social commentary or a social description of what he thinks the men or the people of his generation were like. And he is actually positing and saying, what shall I compare them to? And how can I describe them? What kind of demographic do they fit as far as market is concerned? And in verse 32, he says, these are now the words of Jesus. In verse 32, he's now describing the men of that generation. He's actually responding to verse 31. He says they are like unto children. So he defines them as children. Sitting where? In the marketplace. Children sitting in the marketplace and calling one to another and saying, "We have piped unto you, and you have not danced. We have mourned to you, and you have not wept." So some things there you can see. Number one, he's saying they are like unto children. Number one. Number two, sitting where? In the marketplace. And he's saying, calling one to another, saying, "We have piped unto you, you did not dance. We have mourned unto you, and you have not wept." So I have always loved this scripture because of the two words he uses there. He says children in the marketplace. The word children there actually means those who are young, or rightly put, those who are immature. So, and these immature people that Jesus is describing, where are they? They're in the marketplace. The marketplace in the Greek word is the word agora, and agora actually just means the public space or the public space where people trade or people come to have what you can call public discourses. So we have children in the market space. Jesus is saying they are like unto children in the market space, and that is where actually I began to derive the title of this 1 minute podcast, which means he says, these are the immature of the public, or this is the public of the immature. And Christ is saying, by extension, it is possible for you to be in a space called the market, and if you don't take care and are moved by the tides or the ebb and flows of the market, you'll become like children. You'll become like immature people. So he equates these people who are sitting in the marketplace as children, they're immature, and they're not just immature; they are sitting in a public arena. And what is happening in the public arena? There is piping and there is dancing. Where there is piping, there is a Pied Piper. Where there is piping, there is a Pied Piper. Somebody who actually is setting the tune, somebody who is setting the atmosphere, somebody who is setting the crescendo of how the market works. If you've ever come from a school of what we call mood economics, you can find the social fabric of a particular demographic can determine how a market behaves. There used to be a man I know who used to say one time he was so obsessed and overwhelmed by how markets behave because he was in the stocks world, and he could be so gloomy when the stocks dived and so elated when the stocks rose up, and he began realizing the market space was actually controlling his head space and his heart space. So it's possible for you to be in a space where you are driven by what the market is doing, or the trends and the fads of the market space. You actually are up when the trends are actually favorable to you, and you are down when the trends and fads are not favorable to you. So Christ is saying the people of this generation, I'll describe them as children who when they pipe, they're expecting you to dance, and when they mourn, they're expecting you to cry. So are you in that space where you're being driven by the chorus and the symphony of the market space, or some player who determines how the mood of the market is? So some of us are actually captive to the mood of our markets. And that's the reason why we are so entrenched into how the dynamics and the ebbs and flows of the market space. That's the public of the immature. Jesus is not expecting you as a kingdom practitioner to behave like the children in the market space. He's expecting you to behave like sons in the market space. So the immaturity displayed in the market seems to be playing to the sway of the piper. There's somebody who normally decides this is how it's going to happen and this is how it's going to flow. So we call these things fads, trends, and the market loves the participation of a flock. There's a book called The Wisdom of the Crowd. The Wisdom of the Crowd. So that the status quo is what determines how the market is viewed. We are not like that. Markets are moved by many forces. You have experts, you have what we call the wisdom of the herds, we have the monopoly of people or companies, or you have titans or captains of industry or people who control particular platforms. And they have designed how those platforms work. So at the time of Jesus, they were trying to fit him to be part of how the market was moving and how it was ebb and flowing. And they were trying to cluster him to be part of that kind of demographic and be part of that culture. So look at this. In verse 33, he says, this is Jesus saying again in verse 33, he says, "For John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and ye say, he has a devil." So when John the Baptist comes with a minimalist diet, you say he has a devil. He says, and the Son of Man, so Jesus, and the Son of Man comes eating and drinking, and you say, behold, he's a gluttonous man. So when the Son of Man now comes eating and hanging out with wine bibbers, you call him a glutton. So will you be the John the Baptist or will you be the Son of Man? Because whether you're John the Baptist, you're abused of being minimalist, and if you're Jesus, you're accused of being extravagant. Are you seeing that? So the market has those things. It tries to cocoon you into a particular way of thinking. So Jesus seems to be warning us to beware of the public of the immature. They want you to fit into their thinking and manner of doing things. Thinking and manner of doing things. Okay, and there is an allurement of belonging that fuels the fear of missing out. You've heard of FOMO. And the rest is this: you are the first to know. You are the first to know, or the first to start, or the first to do. That fuels a reputation, or so a marketplace reputation, and you feel like you're being left behind. Yeah, and then it creates this star-driven quality of market actors known as influencers sometimes. And sometimes when influencing is not happening, they try to caricature and manufacture how the market must or should respond, because they want something they're calling relevance. So relevance has become now a commodity. Relevance has become a commodity. So the public of the immature believes that we have to dance when they pipe, and we have to weep when they mourn. And Jesus seems to be saying the mature are not driven by the floppiness of the market, but are driven by what? Wisdom. He says wisdom. In verse 35, he says wisdom is justified of all her children. So Jesus is saying the sons of God act by wisdom. Wisdom is justified of all her children. Or wisdom is the proof of sons in the market space. Wisdom is the proof of sons in the market space, as opposed to trends and fads. To make meaningful contribution in the market requires maturity, and the fruit of maturity is what? Wisdom. That's what Christ is saying. You're not controlled by trends and fads, you're controlled by wisdom. And maturity in the market space is what is needed to be in charge, as opposed to immaturity in the market space. Most marketplace practitioners are being driven by immature captains of industry, immature trends, immature influencers. So let me give you some 2 case studies here. I think you might have encountered this. There's a company or a company called Nintendo. Remember Nintendo? Nintendo is in the gaming world, and Nintendo at some particular point manufactured something, a contraption called the Wii, W-I-I. So, and the Wii defied the trend of the day, because the dominant market space for gaming was controlled by Sony and Microsoft, and it was dominated by this clan of boys who had heavy gizmos and computer force in the early 2000s. So Nintendo decided to release a small contraption that can be accessed to by everybody from everywhere or from anywhere. And the audience of gamers were distraught because now they were being snatched the power to be the ones who had the vantage point of being dominant in the market space. What the Wii did, the Wii democratized processing power, in the sense that they put a gadget in everybody's hands, and everybody was able to play games, if you could say so. And the Wii became very massive and a commercial success, demonstrating that a unique approach driven by a different vision or wisdom could be more effective than simply following the prevailing market trend. Originally, it had been opposed by many people, but it became very dominant and very pleasant to many people because they gave people access. That's something about marketplace sons. Marketplace sons take something that looks scarce and they defy the laws of economics and make things that seem scarce available to everybody else. They share, they serve, if you could say so. There's another company called Warby Parker, and Warby Parker deals with spectacles. Warby Parker disrupted the eyewear industry by challenging the established model of high prices and limited accessibility. So they bypassed traditional retail channels and they offered stylish glasses at affordable prices. Go and check them out. Warby Parker. Warby Parker, Parker, and incorporated a strong social mission. You see, social mission again, distributing it to everybody in the marketplace. Everybody can enjoy this. Anybody can have access to this. And that is a mark of sons in the marketplace, where they take a scarce resource and deliver it to everybody else. That is serving the market. Not dominating the market, serving the market. Or you dominate by service, not dominate by scarcity or holding back. So the outcome, Warby Parker became a major player in the eyewear market, proving that a different approach focused on value and customer experience could be highly successful. They didn't follow the dance. Of the existing market. They created their own. So Nintendo, Warby Parker, Jesus is telling us, what shall he liken us to? When Christ comes judging in the market space, will he liken you to the children who are trying to be part of the herd and the flock, or will he liken you to sons who serve by democratizing what we could call scarce resources and making them available to everybody else? So the public of the mature is the prevailing climate of the market space right now. And people think sometimes to be a multimillionaire, you need to be in charge and hoard resources. Christ is telling us we are different. We take the hoarded resource and democratize it and give it out and make it available to everybody else to access it. And by doing that, we become servants of our generation. So let us not be found to be those who are likened unto children sitting in the marketplace and calling one to another, saying, we have piped unto you and you have not danced. We have mourned unto you and you have not wept. We are very different people. The public or the mature needs to be fed by the sons who are mature. Thank you so much. Welcome to Marketplace Minutes. And as we normally say, it's never really a minute. It's actually 15 minutes. God bless you so much. This is David of the School of David.